I'm sorry? Hi, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming. Thanks for staying the extra time. I know people are probably anxious to get to the airport or get to the beach or get to the bar, one of the three. I'm Chet Fenster. I work at MEC Global, which is part of Group M, which is part of WPP. And here's my colleague, Chantal Rickards, who also works at MEC. And for those who don't know what MEC is, it's a global it's a global communications planning and implementation agency. Formerly, people might have referred to us as a media agency. We represent lots of brands globally, and we help them with their investment planning for media, as well as all of their buys, as well as other practices like entertainment. And I was going to say, how's that for the quick version of what our company does?
That's the pretty quick version. I think, as most people may know, WPP is the world's largest communications group in the world. So as the media agencies, as part of the media agencies, I think we control about something like $60 or $70 billion worth of advertising across the planet, which makes us a fairly big beast.
And I think it's apropos that we're here at NATPE. Chantal and I both have backgrounds as television producers and television programmers at networks, and we've come to this other side in helping brands think of themselves as programmers and figure out how to use content to best accomplish goals and talk to their consumers. Yeah. I always think that it's somewhat analogous. There's a lot of curiosity with branded entertainment or what we call brand-funded content, and I always think it's analogous to skydiving because it's a little bit like jumping out of a plane. It's exhilarating, it's scary, and especially if you're jumping out with a bunch of people, if you don't do it right, it could end up with poor results. But if you do it right, everybody walks away invigorated and with an amazing story to tell.
Yeah, I think if you don't do it right, you get pushed out of the plane without the parachute.
So one of the questions that people tend to ask us, and at least whether they're a network or a producer or a studio, they want to know which clients of yours want to do branded content. And the answer to that for me simply is everyone and no one. Brands particularly aren't looking just to do content, they're looking for solutions. And I think back to the MGM logo, which is a classic, and I don't know how many people ever even pay attention to the Latin arts, art for art's sake, and that's not what brands are in it for. They're in it to find solutions, and the content needs to be aligned to an objective. They need to either reach an audience, sell a product, improve their brand awareness, or how people are feeling about their particular service. Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
No, not at all. That absolutely sums that up.
And I think when we do this, not to overplay the skydiving analogy, but it's got to be good for everyone. And when we do these projects, and Chantal is going to take you through a really incredible program that's run for quite a few years on British television. And when it's done right, it's a win for the consumer, it's a win for the network, it's a win for the producer, and it's a win for the brand.
Cool. Okay, so it's pretty obvious that technology is now running us. And the reason that brands want to get closer to content is because we realize that everybody now has a remote control that they use very fast in their homes. So the 30-second ad is not as potent as it used to be. But the big entertainment space is still fantastically important. So brands want to get closer to entertainment for that very reason. And the way to do that is to get their brand directly inside the shows. And what that does is that it adds credibility. If you just want to go back to that slide.
I'll let you drive.
It adds credibility. It creates a deeper engagement with the brand, because once you align your brand very directly with a TV show, it says so much more about you. If you just do straight broadcast sponsorship, you're normally in a race with another advertiser. It's for a show where the channel have decided what time it's going to go on air and which season it's going to go on air, and they set the tariff. Whereas if you do branded content, you don't have to worry about any of those things, because you're basically in the driving seat, because you create all of those opportunities right at the beginning with the TV channel. So you will decide what time of year works best for you and the channel at the beginning, how much money you've got, so you can create a program accordingly, so you don't end up having to spend £12 million on sponsoring X Factor like they do in the UK. So that's why
it's only 12 million in the UK?
I think it's £12 million for X Factor on ITV1, which is our biggest commercial channel in the UK. And obviously, if you've got a piece of branded content, you can create real fame out of that, real proper publicity opportunities, much more so than a 30-second advert might create. So that just, those are a couple of the reasons why this works best. One idea, many iterations, and a PowerPoint slide that's gone horribly wrong. So hopefully you can see what I'm trying to say here is that once you've got one piece of content, it can become lots of different things in lots of different forms. And that's when branded content really pays for itself, because if you've got one basic content property, you can turn it into so many other things and create so many different touch points. And it's the different touch points that are really important, so that you can get to an audience in lots of different ways. So obviously you can do something through digital, through mobile, through TV, through books, through podcasts. Every different touch point creates greater and greater opportunities for you to get your message across to the audience that the brand want, and that's really important.
And then also from a producer perspective, the producers, I haven't met a producer that doesn't love to see their show promoted and see extensions of their show throughout all of these consumer touch points.
Absolutely. I mean, in the UK, a lot of branded content shows do have the name of the brand in the title. Some brands choose not to do that. They think that it lacks sophistication if you put the brand name in the title of the show. Again, that's something in the UK that you have to decide that with the TV channel. They don't automatically let you have the brand name in the title, but they will do generally if that's what you want. So again, that's something that's always negotiated up front. But it's all about the idea, and I think as program makers, we all know that unless the idea is right, there's no point in doing it. But most particularly for the brand, it's all about the audience. Because unless the show is going to bring the right audience to the brand, then there is, again, no point in the brand getting involved. There is no point in promoting female products to a male audience. It's just utterly pointless and a total waste of money for our brands. But generally what brands want these days, they want something novel, they want something scalable, because different territories have different amounts of money. So when we try and create something for them on a global scale, we try to give them an idea that they can make large in some territories, or they can scale back down in the smaller territories where they've got limited amounts of money. They generally want something safe. Brands are not really about bringing down governments or creating investigative documentaries. It's generally about good old-fashioned storytelling and making something entertaining and getting the audience to feel good about what they're seeing. So the practicalities of global initiatives, really, there are things that we like to think about before we start. That when rights are being negotiated, it's best to do those on a global level first. Talent management, obviously, it's pretty critical to try and do global deals up front so that you're not playing catch up all the time and having to renegotiate with a piece of talent every time you turn the project into another territory. Distribution strategy, again, it's worth setting that up in advance. We don't have a distribution company, so generally we come at this with a view to making it work for all parties concerned. So we'll talk to the producers about the distributors that they want to work with and where we think we're going to make the most out of distributing the show. And obviously intellectual property, worth getting that sorted out. Obviously you've got to get it sorted out right at the beginning. and preferably on a global scale. And rights are up for grabs. You know, intellectual property is normally shared. It's not that the brand will go in and take everything. It's normally done so that everybody feels good about the deal that they're doing. And then obviously once you go regional, then you have regional controls that are more specific to that particular demographic in that country. So I'm going to whistle you through a project that we've had on air for 2 years in the UK. Specsavers are the largest independent high street optician. And this is a show that we have created for Channel 4, which is the second largest terrestrial commercial channel in the UK, and their secondary digital channel, which is called More 4. We're just going into year 3. The figures that I'm going to show you relate to year 1, because we haven't still finished the collation of everything for year 2. But this has been very successful. We wanted to create something for Specsavers that worked for the audience. The audience that they wanted were the people over 45, who are losing their sight, let's face it. That's when you're probably going to go out and get glasses. And also it's a time of your life, at the later end of your life, when you've probably got time to sit down and read a book. So book reading and eyesight is inextricably linked in so many different ways. And what the brand wanted was to create something that gave across a feeling of trust and expertise. Because being a high street retailer, they didn't want people to think they were a sort of pile them high, sell them cheap type operation. They wanted people to regard them as experts in their field. So we went with books. Books was the idea, because books is all about erudition. It's about cleverness. It's about being smart. It's about being educated. It's about knowledge and understanding. So creating something around books seemed to be absolutely the right thing to do. So this was the show. It goes out 2 series a year, 18 shows, 10 in the first part of the year and 8 in the second part of the year. It's a half-hour show. It sits in Channel 4 daytime, where there is a slightly older upmarket audience, and it sits on More 4, the digital channel, in the evening. So it gets 2 discrete audiences, which again is very good for the brand. We have integrated opening titles, so the brand message is absolutely in your face right from the get-go. The actual range of spectacles is built into the opening title sequence. And everywhere that you see the show, the titles go with it, which are obviously always branded. There are 5 celebrities on each show, and they discuss a book of the week that is chosen independently, and that book is then promoted very widely through all retail stores. So the reason this works is because it's not just a TV show. And that's incredibly important for people either coming into this or people trying to understand what really works for us as media agents. And that's because it works on so many different touch points. So this had masses of publishing support, which I'll whistle you through, retail support, online, and enormous amounts of press and PR over and above the TV show, which is a great TV show and works for that audience. So in-store and libraries, very briefly, we had, in year 1, 1.5 million books carried the sticker, which is the little roundel in the bottom of the screen, publicizing the show. We also had advertising, a page of advertising in the back of those 1.5 million books in year 1 as well. We tied up with retail stores so that we had big window displays, big point of sale displays in both in lots of different independent stores, and now also in supermarkets. So in the first year we just had book retailers behind us. In year 2 we then had the supermarkets behind us as well. So that was incredibly useful. 300,000 magazines we print to tell people what the 10 selected books are, a bit about the writers, where you can get the books, awards that they've won, and we're creating real movement in these books. We're selling masses of them, and you'll see that in the little film at the end. We also tied up with libraries. Again, it's another touch point for us. So we're featured in 2,500 libraries with point of sale material.
And can I ask you, was there
Yeah,
any
sure.
pushback from, since libraries are public institutions, but this is a great program to get people to read, so did you have any pushback from libraries?
Not at all. They were only too pleased to help. And obviously promoting book reading is an incredibly good thing to be doing, so the libraries were thrilled. Also, every time the retailers of the books promoted those 10 books that were chosen in each series, they were obliged to promote the TV show at the same time. So there you can see an underground advert. Well, that had a roundel on it as well that said watch the show on Channel 4 and carried the Specsavers logo. So you can see this cumulative effect of lots of different ways of talking to the audience about the show, which creates enormous power. Social media, obviously we didn't forget social media, and every good campaign these days should have social media absolutely running all the way through it. So we got the presenters to tweet about the show. We set up great big online campaigns. We have retail online. All the bookstores carry us online. Channel 4 carry us online. The Specsavers brand carry it online. 4 on Demand, Channel 4 on Demand also has the show. We have clips sitting online of the weekly program. That's pretty much what I've said about the online support. Press and PR. This is sort of what you can't pay for in a way. So in the first year we generated over £1 million worth of publicity, and I think the PR campaign cost a few thousand to put together. But that's the sort of added value that a brand is just gagging for, and a piece of branded content, a great TV show, can absolutely offer you that publicity than other bits of normal direct advertising can't do. And really what I'm trying to say before I pass over to Chet, because he's going to run you through one of his great campaigns, is that this is all about a special relationship. Apologies for those who think this was the worst relationship on the planet, and I'm probably one of those people. I haven't seen the film yet, although I've been told it's fantastic. Some people think she lost her mind before she allegedly lost her mind, but that's a whole political hot potato I won't get into. But it has to work for everybody. The relationship has to be symbiotic. It cannot be parasitic. If everybody thinks they're going to feed off other people in a branded content space, it won't work. You've all got to climb into bed with each other and enjoy the experience. So hopefully that special relationship, if you come and join the branded content world and create fabulous programs, you will find that it's a really beneficial relationship. So that is the Specsavers case study. So over to you.
It's fantastic. I'm glad I didn't put the getting into bed with each other as the image on the top slide.
No, that would have been a bit different.
It might have been good for the NATPE brochure. So across the pond, almost at the same time, we were working on a project for Ikea. And Ikea had a bit of a challenge. And I'm sure everybody in the room, no matter where they're from, probably knows, with the exception of maybe people from Latin America, but most people from around the world know Ikea very well. In the U.S., the perception of Ikea, at least for people of a certain age and people that own their own homes and were doing work on their own homes, was reminiscent of their first furniture that they had when they got out of college, and they or had their first apartment, and they had knocked down, ready to assemble furniture that they put together that perhaps was temporary and didn't last that long. And Ikea was interested in elevating the perceptions, particularly of their kitchens. This is an important purchase that people make in their lives. It's probably one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive thing that they'll put in their house. And the challenge was to figure out how to get more people to consider them for a kitchen, and how many, and to find, and to even the people that were considering them, to push them over the hump that perhaps had some obstacles, that Ikea still had some quality issues. So we found a solution in a reality television show. And I think maybe we should run the tape, and we'll do it backwards this way, so you'll see it, and then I can talk about some of the features of the show and why it worked for Ikea.
Ay, 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 Nicole.
Oh my. Now let's cook!
Here's to good friends.
Good food.
And great kitchens.
So that was a reality show that was on A&E, or is on A&E. It's just gone into it just finished, its second season, and the premise behind the show is very simple, as you saw. But what it did for the brand was bring a certain level of patina to them, where they were able to get a bit of a halo effect off of all of these celebrity chefs that were actually very happy to come and cook in these kitchens, and also gave people who followed these chefs and people that were foodies at heart another reason to consider IKEA and to think of them in that light. Move on to this. This looks like a bunch of alphabet soup. I think there's a conversion issue, but similar to what Chantal had talked about very early, it's about creating multiple consumer touch points and really finding a way to use that content as the centerpiece of something that can reach consumers in different ways. So in addition to the television show, which lives on A&E, we also have a cookbook. We've got lots of social media where we're pushing out recipes and tweets and advice from all of our chefs. We're doing in-store promotions where the chefs actually come and do book signings and cooking demonstrations, as well as using all of the in-store opportunities to promote the show, including looping clips of the show, running promotional opportunities. We use the store's FSIs. IKEA is a very big retailer, so we had 50 million FSIs or circulars, the things that you get in the Sunday paper, actually go out to people to promote the show. They had traditional ads to drive tune-in and promote their association with the chefs and the shows. There's blogs, there was lots of PR, and it turned into a very valuable program, not only for the television, but also all the ancillary distribution points. And I think to the earlier point, and also to Chantal's example, if it's good for the viewer, it most likely is going to be good for the brand. If people are talking about it, if people are excited about it, if people are sharing it with their friends, they're going to bring the brand along with that conversation. One thing that we talk about a lot in the agency world, and I'm not sure it's something that's spilled over into other parts of the vernacular, but more and more brands are starting to look at their advertising in terms of paid, earned, and owned media. Sometimes people call it poems, sometimes people call it PO. It really doesn't matter, but the principle is that there are things that you actually pay for, and those are the ads that you see on TV. It might be the website that you develop. It might be the digital campaign that you run. There are things that you own, in this case, the intellectual property of the show, your store assets, all of your direct communication with your consumer, and the things that you earn, and that's a lot. That's social media, press, and word of mouth. And the goal for a brand, and one of the reasons that content is really taken off, is it becomes the centerpiece of this paid, owned, and earned strategy, where your owned assets can really drive earned and hopefully diminish how much you're spending in paid. And so the results are obviously what the most important thing is. We wouldn't be in a second season had it not done incredible things for IKEA. Just a couple of quick metrics for them. We did a research study that was connected to the entire program. 60% of the people who had been exposed to the program or the promotion for the show felt that, a 60% increase in the people who thought that IKEA used high quality materials. 33% increase in people that agree with Ikea offers good overall durability. Lots of other metrics of people that were impressed by their warranty and knew that they had 25 years on this kitchen. And it really, the show changed the perception that people had in this core customer base. So it was an incredible success from that point of view, and that's why the show will continue and keep going. I think the best statistic for us is 2 out of 3 people exposed to the program or the materials for the program plan to visit an Ikea when doing a kitchen renovation. So they really, you can't ask for better than that, especially when normally successful programs are in the single digits and in fact sometimes low digits. And that's a view from both sides of the world. We're excited to work with producers. That's the engine that drives the storytelling, and we're really excited to find new places to work and new people to work with.
And just as a quick upsum, I'm just going to run a little 2-minute film which basically gives you the sort of the return on investment figures on the Specsavers series, just so that you can see actually how valuable that was. So if you could just run the Specsavers VT, that would be great.
Perfect.
A key marketing objective was to ensure that we continue to switch customers from independent opticians to Specsavers in order that we continue to grow our market share. And that was particularly true amongst the key over 50s target market.
People who read books are the right sort of audience for Specsavers. That slightly more upmarket audience are book readers by nature.
Our big idea was to partner up with Cactus TV and Channel 4 to deliver some new programming called the TV Book Club.
The TV Book Club gives the UK the opportunity to have a completely independent selection process for books for book clubs.
We created a half-hour show for Channel 4, and that goes out now, 2 series a year on the channel.
We are dissecting the third book from our summer read selection. It's The Legacy by Catherine Webb.
Working with the leading book publishers created in-store material to promote the book club.
With any ad-funded project, there's always a huge number of stakeholders involved, and the most successful AFPs happen when there's good communication, trust and professionalism, and a willingness from every corner to produce the best possible outcome.
We look after the overall running of the production on behalf of the brand. So we're there to make sure that there's quality control of the programme, that the programme is saying the right things about the brand, that creatively it's absolutely on message.
You need a strong central figure to bring everything together, to be the communication hub really of any project like this. What NEC bring to the project is they bring that hub.
Thanks for coming. Hope you've learned something. We're easy to find if you want to get hold of us or MEC anywhere on the planet, because we are truly global. But thanks for coming today.
Thank you.